Thank you for joining today's webinar on why are patents important for R&D, the first of our new series of strategic IP webinars. My name's Caitlin Kavanagh, and I'm the Global Marketing Manager at Mindsoft. I'm here today with Mie Rasmussen, who is Head of Training and Support. She is going to explain how patent data can ensure you're ahead of the curve and armed with know-how. We will be doing a Q&A at the end of the webinar, so if you have any questions, please pop them in the chat box and we'll get to them at the end. That's all from me, so over to you, Mie.
Thank you very much, Caitlin. Again, welcome everyone, and I hope you're all well, and thank you for joining today. So in this webinar, we'll cover what is a patent, why are patents important for R&D, a bit about the sort of basic patent structure and the terminology, and also basics of patent research, where we'll be using PatBase Express today. So firstly, what is a patent? So a patent is a type of intellectual property protection. So other types of IP protection include things like trademarks, copyrights, domain names, and also trade secrets. So patents specifically protects inventions. And now there's three general requirements for a patent. So firstly, it must be novel. Now this means it must be new and innovative, and no one has ever come up with the idea before, and it hasn't been documented in any way. Secondly, it must be non-obvious. So this means the patent is useful for solving a problem, and it's not an obvious solution to an industry professional in the field. Thirdly, it must be useful. So this means there must be proof that it works to solve a problem intended to solve. Now, patents are territorial and limited in time, so generally protection lasts around 20 years, and this is obviously subject to annual renewal fees. So why are patents important to R&D? Now, knowing what's happening in your own technological fields and what the future is looking like is extremely important in today's fast-changing world. So patents are very often the first indication of new inventive steps. Now, this point alone is why thousands of companies globally research and monitor the patents that are being published every week. And this is simply to keep abreast on top of what's disruptive innovations, and also to focus what changes they should also be making to meet the future heads on. Now, with disruptive technologies often arising from SMEs, where there's more flexibility and propensity for risk-taking, R&D departments from large corporations, as well as other SMEs, should be monitoring these new technologies, as they could be signposts for industry growth and development. So your company is most likely hoping to make returns on any invested money and time into R&D efforts. So by patenting an invention, your company will receive all the benefits of commercializing the invention as a patent. Simply creates a monopoly for the duration of the patent life cycle. So as the rights holder to an invention, you can also decide to sell or license the patent for either a royalty or licensing fee. It could also be a lump sum or a percentage of the revenue from the invention. So licensing of patents take place daily across the world, and it's a great asset of the international patent system to the patent holders, also for enabling widespread use of the technological idea. So in return for protection on an idea, patent documents are published publicly. So this is to stimulate further innovation, and is therefore recommended to start by researching patents to see what's already documented, also so your work doesn't overlap with any existing solutions. Now, in the European Commissioner's report called Why Researchers Should Care About Patents, it's estimated that up to 30% of all R&D spending is wasted on redeveloping existing solutions. And now only in the UK, this means that over 10 billion of R&D expenditure. So doing a preliminary research ensures that at the end of your R&D project, if you wanted to file for a patent, you aren't unknowingly infringing on someone else's idea. So if we now move into a bit of basics around the patent structure. So as mentioned earlier, patents are territorial. So this means the patent protection is only valid in the countries or jurisdictions where it's granted. So different decisions can be made about the same patent documents in different international patent offices. However, sort of across the world and for hundreds of years, the patent structure have remained quite consistent. So there are standard parts of a patent document that we'll see in PatBase Express shortly, and we'll start by looking at the bibliographic information. Now, the bibliographic text includes the document's title and abstract. So these are short descriptions summarizing the main content of a patent document, and also the name of the assignees and/or inventors. So assignees are not always the inventor. It would be the person or organization that's applying for the patent and will have ownership of this particular patent. So patent numbers are identification codes for that specific document. So a patent will have an application number and a publication number. So these are two different numbers because an application number will be given when a patent is filed. However, a document may not be published for up to 8 months, or around the 8 months mark. The application dates and publication dates are important for a patent document too, as the validity of the patent protection starts from the application date. So there's a system of priority given internationally for the first application made by a specific applicant. So now for the full text of a patent document, this means the complete text. So this can be very extensive and descriptive of the new technique being or technology being patented. It includes the bibliographic information as well as the description, and also a state-of-the-art discussion, which is often referred to as the claims. And the claims are the scope of the invention being covered from a legal perspective. The information would also include technical drawings, so these could be chemical structures or the mechanical or electrical drawings. Now the description, which we see part of here on the screen, is a section within a patent that this must include enough detail so that an industry professional skilled in that specific area could replicate the invention. So this requirement ensures the invention will be useful even after the expiration of the patent's term. It also means that patent documents contain far more technical details than most other publications available, so available for research or scientific or technical journals. So coming off the back of this, it's estimated by WIPO that on average 70% of the technical details found in a patent document are never published anywhere else. So it's therefore vital for R&D departments to be able to build on existing ideas and drive innovation. So claims are often considered the most important part of a patent from a legal perspective, as we mentioned earlier. So this is what the inventor is claiming the idea can do or solve. So there's two types of claims really. There's the independent claims that are standalone claims, and these contain the elements to define the invention. And then we've got dependent claims, which give further information into the independent claims. The drawings, and as an example on the screen here, are attached images of the invention, and these can be viewed in full screen on PatBase Express, simply using the mosaic viewer. So if we now move into a bit of sort of the basics of searching in patents, where we're using PatBase Express in this case. So far we've covered what patents are and why they're important for R&D, and also the standard parts of patent documents. The details of inventions contained in the standard format of a patent document makes patent research a great place to start before beginning a long-term and costly R&D project. But how do we find relevant patents and draw conclusions from the data? There are several search forms available in PatBase Express to efficiently find what you're looking for. So here we've used the advanced search form. My query is made up of keywords in the first field, so self-driving vehicle in this case. The publication date field is set to find patents that are published after the year 2000, and the desired jurisdictions are set to US, WO, or EP. Now you can perform an analysis of your search results using PatBase Analytics. Graphs within this tool are automatically generated, and these are showing trends across your whole result set. So an overview can help support strategic decisions for your particular projects and also answer questions such as who's your biggest competitor and where the most investment for innovation in this field. Then analysis could be a good place to start your research. So rather than searching for a specific solution immediately, you could instead start scoping with a pattern landscape, sort of across a technical field. So in this case, we've used again the driverless cars. On PatBase Analytics, you can generate a 3D keyword landscape. So this particular topographical map shows the most popular keywords associated with your search phrase within the patent documents. Now this can help you identify technical areas which are the focus of major development and also the less explored sort of white spaces. So this is where you might choose to focus your R&D strategies and also allocate any resources. Now there's a great side-by-side feature available in PatBase Analytics, which allows you to click on either keywords or points on the landscape map on one side of the screen, and the family details, the patent details, will then be loaded on the other side of the screen. And this means you can view everything at the same time and the information is right at your fingertips. So there are many other graphs available on PatBase Analytics. So for an example, you can also view the top classification codes to see the top technology groups based on your search results. So this could help to broaden your search by introducing classifications to run a new search with, or you could also narrow your search by drilling down into your results by certain classifications only. We can also easily generate an overview of existing assignees or inventors. So when there are active inventors and assignees developing solutions in your field, you may choose to license their solution, acquire their IP, or even collaborate on new projects with them. Now, all graphs and data are shareable with PatBase, PatBase Express, and even non-PatBase users. So this means that your analysis can be shared for discussion, and it can also be used to inspire new ideas within your R&D team. So this brings us to the end of sort of the introduction on why patents are important for R&D. So I'll now hand back over to Caitlin for the Q&A session.
Thank you, Mia. That was great. Before we do move on to the Q&A session, I've included my email address on this slide, ckavanagh@mindsoft.com. So please drop me any questions or feedback after the webinar to this address, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Also to note, Mia spoke about PatBase Express during this session. For anyone who is not already a user, we do offer commitment-free 2-week trials. If you're interested, again, just drop me a quick email and we'll get this set up for you. Okay, let's move on to the Q&A session. I can see we've had some questions come in already, but please do keep sending them. A quick one, I've seen a couple of people have asked if they can have the presentation. We will be sending out recordings of the webinar to everyone who's attended, so you will receive that. Okay, going into the questions. Mia, is there a list of keyword functions for PatBase, for example, in the help section?
So that kind of depends what we think. So is it different keyword terms we're looking for, or search kind of language? So within all the different help section PatBase, there is a search language specific area where we go through what Boolean operators are available, what truncation is available, and sort of going into how to nest the terms properly. If it's more to help with finding additional keywords, we've got the PatBase thesaurus available both on PatBase Express and on PatBase. So this works on using different online dictionaries to find synonyms, alternative keywords to what you're looking for. And at the same time, we also often recommend that we use either PatBase Analytics or the Visual Explorer, which is another tool to find keywords on a set of patterns that are of interest. So it's another way to kind of develop the keyword strategies further.
This is a good question. Can you tell us more about how this can assist in conducting a patent landscaping study? Might be a long answer there.
So kind of short, I think whenever we would do a landscape study, it's a lot of maybe doing the broad search first, and then we can go into path-based analytics as we saw, and we can then narrow down on either the white spaces or the more popular area. So again, it depends on how we want to present the data. But a good approach is, because everything is shareable, so you can share your findings both as you go through your landscaping project, or you can kind of narrow down as you go through. So it's yeah, it's a bit of a difficult question to answer because it depends on what the specific needs are. So if there's a specific needs, I'll be happy to have a discussion off the call after, either on via Caitlin's email or the support@minesoft.com, or either my own email address, so mie@minesoft.com, and we can then go into a session.
Yeah, just to note as well, this is probably something that we'll cover in a future webinar where we can go more into detail about that. I've got another question, Mia. I think you kind of covered this during the kind of main presentation, but in case anyone missed it, are patents legal worldwide, or is it country specific? Can I have a world patent?
Good question. So it depends really. So every patent, once it's granted, it's per jurisdiction. So it's not automatically covered globally. You would have to kind of go into the different sort of jurisdictions. Now there is a way you can sort of file for, it's not technically a global patent, but if you file through like a PCT, it's more of a seen as a global filing, but you're not covered globally. You could also get a EP patent, so covering for Europe, but you would have to pay fees for the countries within the EP jurisdiction where you want your sort of to be covered by the patent.
Another one here, Mia. Is there a way to search the transactions behind the patent before its grant? For example, public pair.
Yes, there is. So in both PatBase Express and PatBase, you can search through the legal status information, and the pair information is part of our legal status feed. So it's both INPADOC data, it's US pair, we've got German data, Chinese data, Japanese data, direct legal status data we're talking about here. So here we can search through the individual event codes, and we'll also soon be able to search through the descriptions of all the legal status events. So yeah, so there's different approaches to it.
Great. I think that's actually just about all we have time for because I can see the webinar is coming to an end in 1 minute. I can see there's still a couple more questions to get through, but what I'll do is I'll just contact you after the webinar and get back to you that way. I hope that's all right. As I mentioned earlier, this was the first in our new series of strategic IP webinars. Future webinars will focus on more specific areas of patent search and analysis, like the importance of looking at patent citations or building a comprehensive search strategy or patent landscaping, like we mentioned earlier. So if you'd like to be kept in the loop, then just write yes in the chat box, and then we'll just keep you updated on any future webinars. So yeah, I think that's everything. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Mia.
Thank you very much.
And enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.